The World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship is back from its summer break, and we're here in Portugal. And unlike it says here on the calendar you see on your screen right now, we're not in Estoril. There were problems with the track, so we switched to Portimao, as luckily Portugal has two very, very good racetracks to offer for us. We're a bit late today. So yeah, we had a bit of technical issues, so sorry for that. And I believe we will go straight into the qualifying session. My name is Robin Ciuman. I'll be your commentator for today. Unfortunately, Ash couldn't make it today. And yeah, Alexander Knezovic, who usually filled in for one of us when we weren't available, well, he will be driving today as he fills in for he will actually race for the rest of the season for Scuderia Cesario. We have him on screen here. So yeah, very sorry once again for the sudden intro we get here, but I think it's all in your sense that we'll head straight into the action of qualifying, and luckily we will see the first time lapse live here on screen. Should now expect the first lap times to drop as we go on board with Alexander Knezovic to take a look at that really scenic racetrack in the south of Portugal at the Algarve. Beautiful region also for holidays. You can already see, speaking about holidays, only 12 drivers here today. Seeing as we are still in late August, this is holiday season, so many drivers are unfortunately away, and yeah, replacements are hard to get as well because so many people are on holidays. The first lap times have been set. Dylan Fisher right now leading with a 1:16.999. Let's see where Knezovic puts his car. Fourth right now, 1.1 seconds slower than Fisher. Lucas Mano, very consistent in the last races, and he puts it on provisional pole. Now, as usual, qualifying in the WMSC will see loads of running because the drivers leave the pits on the amount of fuel that they will start the race with. And that guarantees that we'll see lots of running because they all try to burn some fuel to, at the end of the session, have a light car to then set their fastest lap times. Ruben Meschede here has set a purple first sector. He and his teammate Dylan Fisher, they were super strong at the last round in Hockenheim. It was a commanding 1-2 for Optimal Esports. They came so close to victory in Monaco, Optimal and Ruben. And now finally in Hockenheim they were able to do it. And they belong to the favorites here in Portugal as well. Ruben instantly proves that. Once again, it would be a front row lockout for now for the two Optimal drivers. Because Mono does not come close to them. Yannis Woolborn, our championship leader so far, he's sitting in 6th as we're watching Jeffrey Fournier here entering the final sector of that track. So far his lap time is pretty far off from the top. As we see him coming around that final corner, that is such a great corner. I always love to go through it in racing games. That very long, flat-out right hand that goes down the hill, over the line. And Fournier currently sits in 11th. Oh, as he mounts that sausage curve there in turn 1. Now Knezovic, he's making his comeback here in the WMSC. He has already filled in for Better Julia in the race at Monaco. Now he currently sits ahead of his teammate, Willami, who entered Scuderia Cesario 1 or 2 races ago. Hoping to get them back into the point-scoring positions. Every race from Bahrain onwards has been quite shocking for Scuderia Cesario. And now this is the big opportunity to get back into the point-scoring positions here. The team with that distinct red livery. Let's see what Paulo Willami can do. Around the final corner he goes. Crossed the line, and he still is behind his new teammate for the rest of the season. This is also a new interesting personality, Victor B. Today he's filling in at Beta Julia, but he'll be driving for Potenza Esports for the rest of the season. And seeing that Potenza Esports is kind of the junior team for SCMM, if he does well, he might be an interesting option for SCMM to race alongside Philip Puschke, who signed for that team for the 2024 season. By the way, talking about Philip Puschke, he has closed the gap to Yannis Wolbon, the championship leader, to just 10 points last time out at Hockenheim, where he finished 3rd. And this track now is another big opportunity for him to bounce back in the championship. Where we see Puschke going into the pit lane for some fresh rubber. There is our championship leader, Yannis Wolbon. It will be interesting to see how the Portimao track suits them. I might believe it might be the better option now for Holland Racing Team to race at Algarve than Estoril. Estoril a bit more technical, a bit more slower corners. So I believe that Algarve should suit them a bit better. And yeah, seems like it does, as he puts it in 3rd, but still. And we have seen that in Hockenheim as well. The Optimal guys seem untouchable so far. Oh, and there is a car crashed, and it is not Lucas Murno, it's an Infernal Void car, so it has to be Aaron Curtis. Yeah, and they lost their front wing. They'll have to go back to the pits for repairs. And oh yeah, I've been informed via chat that Knezovic will also be driving for Scuderia Cesario in the 2024 season. So slowly everything is coming together during that silly season. Or well, I say everything. A few pieces of the puzzle are coming together. As we see Paulo Willami crossing the line, still in 8th. And SCMM will be watching this guy very closely. Sitting in 10th. With only 12 drivers competing, of course, a good chance for everyone that is here today to score some points. Jeffrey Fournier now, he already has some points in this season. But so far he wasn't really able to support his teammate a lot in the quest for the title fight. He had a big chance to score some big points in Jerez, but unfortunately a big error on the opening lap saw him drop down the order, where he had to recover, which he did, but he wasn't able to snatch some points away from Puschke's competition. Oh, as he almost loses the car on the curb there into that very tricky turn 8 that goes up the hill. Samsung is the name of that corner, and Yeah, it is really, really tough, that one. And these two here as well, turns 10 and 11. Double apex right-hander. We kind of have to miss the first apex and then get the second one right as you go down the hill towards that hairpin we just went through. Another right-hander. Oh, as Philip Pushka put his car into third. We're slowly getting towards the sharp end of the session, so lap times will definitely drop. As Fournier goes into the pit lane as well, and I was just about to say that we haven't seen an improvement in lap times from Optimal, but here we go. Ruben Meschede, current pole sitter, with 2 purple first sectors. Now he just has to get these 2 final corners right. Looking good so far. And now it's just flat out towards the line. It will definitely be an improvement, but by how much? Can he drop into the 115th? No, 116.08. Well, as we just saw him getting a bit wide into turn 1, track limit penalties will be handled by the game itself. He was just within the boundaries, so we see another purple first sector by Ruben here. On board for this lap, but might see another improvement. That looks a bit slidey there on top of that hill. And also the second sector wasn't a good lap time. 0.2 slower than his previous. So I guess we won't see an improvement this time around. And that looks, yeah, he's going into the pits, fresh tires. And interestingly, you were able to see that as Dylan Fisher just crosses the line. Improves a bit on his lap time, but not by much. What is interesting is that Ruben Meschede has gone for the harder tire set, so he will have the... No, sorry, I'm wrong. He has just set his time with mediums, so everyone has gone for the super softs and medium collection of tires. Except for Aaron Curtis, they will have the softs and hards available to them. And there we have Aaron Curtis, currently running on the softs. You can see by that yellow sticker on the tire wall. Now let's talk about weather a little bit. We hadn't had the chance ahead of qualifying. And well, seeing as we are in late August and in Portugal, it is hot and sunny. So typical summer day. And yeah. So will be very interesting. Watch. Oh yeah, there we have the weather. 27 degrees here in qualifying, 28 degrees we will see for the race, so not that much of a difference, but pretty warm. So yeah, tire wear might also be a factor in this race. Although we set that for the race in in the meantime, Lucas Murno is in first, provisional pole position. That is very interesting. Now Murno in Spa-Francorchamps, the race in Belgium, he has achieved his first podium finish in WMSC after consistently scoring points since the third race of the season in Bahrain. And so far, he looks like a contender for that podium. And we'll now also see the fastest lap times of the day as the session gets closer and closer to the end. 2 minutes now only to go. And Yannis Wilborn still only in 5th, so just 1 position behind Filip Puschke. We're sitting in 4th. Very interesting how this season is developing. As now it looks like it's the time for Portimao. Once again, both of the cars in the top 3, and I don't think done with this session, but neither will be Filip Puschke and Yannis Wilborn. Let's look at Gino Giugiano in the SCMM. He is back after sitting out the round in Hockenheim. And he'll be looking for some more points finishes. Currently, the only point he has scored was in Spa-Francorchamps with an 8th place finish. Let's see if that lap time brings any improvement. No, it does not. Giugiano in 11th. Knežević just moved up into 4th. Oh, but Wilborn immediately takes that away from him. Aaron Curtis lane. Fresh tires for a final run. And yeah, this is the guy we want to see right now. Puschke now dropped down to 6th. But purple first sector indicating he will be on a movement as well. Let's see how that second sector looks. Oh, slower than Lucas Murno's current pole time. But a personal improvement indicated by that little green square you see down there. Now it's about these final couple of corners. Hugging the inside there. Across the line, Puschke goes. Oh, it's an oh, okay, it just did take a little bit into 3rd, splitting the 2 Optiminals. I just thought he just improved the lap time, but not the position. But there we go. Up into 3rd, Gustavo Frigoto had a very good qualifying in Hockenheim last time out for CMM. Then, unfortunately, he was hit during the race by a few track limit penalties. Still managed to recover to finish in the points in 7th. Now, what does this lap time get him? 7th behind Knežević. Dylan Fischer sets the fastest lap by 2/10. Beats Murno to position. Ruben Mechede. He has set the purple first sector. Lower than Fischer in the second one, though. Across the line. He goes. And it's second. Dylan Fischer in 1st. Might it just be the other way around than it was in Hockenheim? Filip Puschke goes across the line, no improvement, but that lap that he just started will still count. So it will be an interesting finish to that qualifying session. 13 seconds still to go. Let me just see on the live tracker now. Yeah, everyone still is on a lap. I don't think we'll see anyone starting. So everyone that crosses the line now will have the final lap. Filip Puschke boards that lap. He's out of that qualifying session. Will only start from 4th. Ruben Mechede looked like he has some traffic just ahead of him. Looks to be an Infernal Void car. And there are no sector times showing up. That is interesting. Lucas Murno into the pits he goes. No improvement from him. Will we see any improvement? Gino Giugiano, he is on a flying lap. A personal best in the first sector. Ooh, slides a bit wide, leaves the track there. And that won't be an improvement at all. So, as everybody peels into the pit lane, I guess this will be our starting order. Dylan Fisher, yeah, both Optiminals in the pits. Philip Pushke underway somewhere still. I think he's still on track. But no, he has aborted his lap. Yeah, we've seen that. So that is indeed the qualifying result. Dylan Fisher will start from pole position ahead of his teammate Ruven Meshed. Once again, it is an Optiminal front row lockout. Lucas Murno has claimed third. Philip Pushke then in fourth, just ahead of his championship rival Yanis Fulborn. Alexander Knežević, great qualifying on his comeback, starts from P6. Ah yeah, there we have it. Gustavo Frigoto then in 7th, Victor B in 8th, Aaron Curtis 9th, Paolo Villami 10th, and then in 11th and 12th we will have Gino Guggiano and Jeffrey Fournier. So that has been qualifying. Now there will be a short break until we start the race, and we'll be back in around 10 minutes for a hopefully exciting race here at Portimao. So welcome back. Here we are with the race session at Portimao. We're just waiting for all drivers to be on the grid. Then we will see a formation lap, and then we will be on the way for 65 laps in Portugal. And yeah, we can see the cars already lining up on the grid, and there they are underway for the formation lap. Oh, this is interesting. I'm missing an Optiminal car. Oh, has there been a penalty awarded? Oh, what's going on there? People off the track. Fournier and Fischer are pole setter. There's Giano in the wall. Okay, that opening lap is pretty interesting on that formation lap. So, Gagiano in the wall. Fischer last. Have there been some setup changes that were not allowed? If there was any call by race direction, I was away during that break between qualifying and the race. So this is interesting. So everyone moved up a spot. Ruben Mesheden starting from pole position. Lucas Murner from second. Philip Puschke third. Wilborn Frigoto. B. Curtis, Willami, Fournier, and Fischer. This will be... Okay, we will see another formation lap. We will... Yeah, so confirmation just came in from race direction that we will see another formation lap, and we will restart all of this because of what happened there to Gino Giano, and I think it was Jeffrey Fournier. So they went off into turn one. This appears to have been a game crash for Giano at least. There also was another missing on that formation lap. We only had 10. We were 12 in qualifying. So yeah, we're just waiting for... Yeah, there is Gagiano. He's back again. So yeah, once again, it seems to be cursed. Whenever I'm alone here, there is some sort of delay at the start. So but of course, I've prepared something to talk about during that wait. Now, IBOS has started to unveil the first races of the 2024 WMSC season, and there is also already some interesting news. For example, for the first time, we will go to China next year. We will be racing at Shanghai. Another addition is Magny-Cours, an old Formula One classic, as they raced there from the early 90s up until 2008, if I'm not completely wrong. So this will be very interesting. It hasn't seen the greatest racing in Formula One, but well, Formula One hasn't seen the greatest racing in Monaco either the last years. Oh yeah, Knežević, he was also missing from that formation lap. He's back now as well. So all 12 drivers are in place. Yeah, as I was just talking about, just remember how great the race of the WMSC was at Monaco. Lots of on-track action, lots of strategic action as well. So yeah, an absolutely brilliant race we've seen on a track that is not known for the best of racing, at least in Formula One. So yeah, one more minute of delay until we will jump back into the race session, and then hopefully we will see the formation lap and then the race starts. So maybe this gives us the opportunity to look at the drivers and constructors standings, as we have didn't have the opportunity at the beginning of the stream. So this is how we will be going into today's race. Yannis Woolborn is currently still leading the championship, 10 points ahead of Philipp Puschke. And interestingly, Puschke starts 1 place ahead of him. So today he has the opportunity to bring that gap down below 10 points. Pascal Polens sits in third. He won't be driving today. He is away. Max Riedmüller is not here either. Then Ruven Meschede has already moved up to fifth, despite only joining the WMSC in, I think it was race 4 at Canada. Lucas Murno, consistently scoring points, is in sixth. And then we have Alexander Haas, who unfortunately is not driving for SCMM anymore. Danny Weller, also not here today, had a brilliant start to the season, then has dropped behind a little bit. Dylan Fisher, well, our pole sitter, or at least the fastest man in qualifying, in 9th. And Ben Reed in 10th. These are the top 10. And for the Constructors Championship, we see Holland Racing Team ahead of the rest, pretty much clear of the rest. Kostek and Potenza Resport haven't scored any points so far. They won't do so today because they are not here. I believe we might be in the race session now, as I've talked a lot about the driver standings. And yeah, there we are. Now it's the correct order. Dylan Fisher ahead of Ruven Meschede, Lucas Murno in third. This is what we were expecting. And this is the order that we had after qualifying. So once again, let's take a detailed look on the starting grid. Front row lockout for Optimal Esports. Fischer this time ahead of Meschede. Will be interesting how they approach this race, if there will be any team orders in place. Then we have Murno, Puschke, Woolborn, Knezovic. Awesome comeback here, starting from P6. Good opportunity to score some points here for Cesario. Yeah, and then we already have Curtis, Valami, Gigiano, and Jeffrey Fournier. The rest of the grid. Oh, sorry, completely jumped over Gustavo Frigoto in 7th and Victor B in 8th. So, now they're going through that final sector. We'll also take a look at the tire choices. I see the mediums on Dylan Fisher's car, and I believe it's the same for Ruven Meschede. Yeah, everyone has gone for the harder option of their respective tire sets. That is no big surprise. So we'll now be lining up on the grid. Side by side, the two Optimals. And we are now waiting for Jeffrey Fournier. He will be the last that takes his grid spot. And then we're waiting for those lights to go on and then off. And we will be away. It will be quite an interesting dash to turn 1. An interesting corner. But might see loads of action. But you have to be careful through there. Once again, it seems to be a pretty long hold. And there we are. 5 red lights are on. And we're off at Portimao. And it seems to be a very good start from Dylan Fisher. He already has taken the lead, or kept the lead from Ruven Meschede. Oh, Giannis Woolborn running right through turn 1. Murno dropped down to 5th already. And into the first heavy braking zone they go. There is a bit of a contact between B and I believe it was Gustavo Frigoto. Knezovic dropped down. Oh, these Scuderia Cesarios in 11th and 12th already. What has happened to Knezovic? We will see a replay surely. And there is lots of smoke coming out of the cars of Victor B is the one. And Gustavo Frigoto. No, not Gustavo Frigoto. Well, yeah, it seems to be fine now. Dylan Fisher still has the lead. Puschke managed to stay ahead of Yannis Woolborn. This is very critical for his championship charge, but you can already see there is a bit of a gap between the two Optiminals and Philipp Puschke. Now this will be very interesting. How will they manage this race this time? Last time we heard, or they told us, there was an agreement at who was ahead after the Spitzkehre. They will be allowed to stay ahead. as we have a very interesting battle. Victor B still spraying smoke on everyone. Now it has stopped. Aaron Curtis in the background. The smoke has also stopped. Gaziano tries it around the outside of turn 1. Backs out of it, and I think that is the wise thing to do, but there is the opportunity for Jeffrey Fournier down the inside of turn 3, and he moves past, and now this is the chance for Aaron Curtis as well. So plenty of action here on the opening laps. Curtis with the inside line for the turn 4 hairpin. Ooh, almost a little bit of contact between the two. But Gaziano manages to stay ahead of the second Infernal Void. 4-car battle here for P9. Oh, not the best of exits there for Aaron Curtis. This is the opportunity for Knežević and Willami. Now they're almost drifting through that corner. Curtis ran a little wide. Off the road they go, and Knežević and Willami both slip through. There might have even been a bit of contact. But they really seem like they have issues having that car under control. A lot of sliding. Fischer with the fastest lap here. Interesting battle for P3 building here between Puschke, Woolborn and Murnau. And the two Optiminals have already, it's a bit much saying shot off into the distance, but there is a 2-second gap between Meschede and Puschke already after the first two laps of this race. Murnau seems pretty close to Yannis Woolborn in the meantime. So Philip Puschke will be hoping for Murnau to move past the championship leader, because this would be another couple of points that he would gain on Yannis. Oh, having a little look there is Lucas Murnau. Not really an opportunity to make a move. But yeah, we have seen this throughout the season. These Holland Racing Team cars are incredibly hard to overtake thanks to their fantastic straight line speed. But then again, if somebody can do it, it's Lucas Murnau in that Infernal Void that is also very strong in a straight line. DRS should be activated around now. Meschede has taken the lead away from Dylan Fischer. This is interesting, and I would love to see a replay of that move, if it was an actual move, or if Fischer let Meschede through, because of course we've seen it in the Drivers' Championship. Meschede, well, he might not be close to Woolborn and Puschke. And now this is the replay of the start. Yeah, Knežević. Let's see. Oh, it's just a poor getaway. Probably wheel spin. And yeah, he's already in 10th there, 11th as Fournier goes through. And then, yeah, it just was not the best getaway for Knežević. So, couldn't really tell what happened. And then, yeah, he gets a lot of smoke from the cars ahead, overheating a bit on the start, battling with his teammate there. So back to the live action, another lap gone, and Reuven Meschede is leading this race. Woolborn is not getting DRS anymore from Philip Puschke, and Lucas Murnau is super close. He might try something into turn 1. It's a late move there by Yannis Woolborn. I believe Murnau won't be too happy with that. Oh, that... He might be complaining that it was a very late move by Yannis. Once again, the ring is open for that Infernal Void, but he's too far away to try something into the hairpin. We get another replay, and this is the overtake between Meschede and Fischer, and well, at least Fischer is not defending it. It looks like he's letting him through, and I think play, if they continue to dominate as they were in Hockenheim and as they are here right now, maybe there might even be something in this championship for Reuven Meschede. He's 30 points behind Wilborn. So, yeah, it is a tough job, as we only have 6 races to go, including this one. But it's worth a shot. This time Murno is not as close to Wilborn as he's been before. Goto was right with them a couple of laps ago. Oh, Murno, this certainly was a track limits warning. Okay, and this is just in from race direction. Yannis Wilborn has been warned of that incident or for that move against Lucas Murno. Overly aggressive driving was the call by race direction. So he won't get away with that a second time. And Murno knows what to do here. Just keep Wilborn on his toes. He might make a mistake. Ahead of the season, we thought, well, that's almost impossible, Yannis Wilborn making any mistakes, but especially in those races where he struggled a bit, which means Jerez and Hockenheim as well, he made a few mistakes, and this might be the opportunity then for Lucas Murno to slip through and, yeah, get into 4th, maybe hunt down Philip Puschke for another podium finish as well. The rear wing will once again be open on the Infernal Void, but yeah, nowhere close enough. And then again, we also know that every now and then there were some issues with tire wear at the Holland Racing team, and Wilborn also struggled at the end of the first stint in Hockenheim, so this is not over for Lucas Murno, just needs to stay with him, and as soon as the opportunity arises, he might take that spot. And this is the race at the top. Meschede and Fischer once again in complete control of that race and getting away further and further at the top. This now is maybe the opportunity to talk about new team that will be entering the WMSC next season, which is the Bravo Snow Schatten team from Brazil. And this is awesome, as well, I know there's been a lot of support for Lucas Murno, the Brazilian driver. Also got Gustavo Frigoto in the WMSC. Now a solid points finisher for SCMM, doing a great job in the last few races. And well, we'll see some more Brazilian representation then in 2024 with the Bravo Snow Schatten team. So this is fantastic news. And even more fantastic news is for Ruben Meschede that he is increasing that gap at the front further and further. As we now have a yellow in Sector 2, and that's one that stands for quite a while. Aaron Curtis is round, but this hasn't been the yellow flag because he's in Sector 1 right now. I haven't seen anyone losing a position, so we should find Lucas Murno once again a bit closer to Yannis Wilborn, whose rear wing still remains short. He ran a little wide there through turn 1. This might be an opportunity. Wilborn defends the inside. Murno side-by-side contact between the two, and now this might be an opportunity. Side-by-side, Wilborn runs Murno right. They both go wide. Oh, this is another situation, race direction. Surely we'll have a look. And remember, Yannis Wilborn has been warned already for the incident on the start-finish straight when moving too late. And this will be very interesting once again. I'd love to see a replay of what happened there. They both ran right, almost in a Brazil 2021 move between Verstappen and Hamilton, both running wide, keeping the planted on the accelerator. So, I'm just waiting for the call by race direction. I will, of course, keep you updated what happens. This has, of course, allowed Philip Puschke to build that gap even further, as it looked like Wilborn was coming a bit closer again. Murno against Wilborn. This is also kind of becoming a rivalry here. The two had their moments in Hockenheim as well. There was contact between the two as well in the previous race. And after the summer break, well, we just keep on where we left them. Between 8 and 9 seconds already, the gap between these two and the top. Oh. Lucas Murno very aggressively into that corner there. Of course, this is not really where you can make a move. You really have to do it on the main straight or then on the back straight in the second DRS zone. He came very close twice now. Maybe 3 times a charm. This time he's not close enough at all. Oh. Fighting with the car through these first 2 corners. And he's also not close enough into the second DRS zone. And once again, it looks like Wilborn is getting closer to Philip Puschke once again. Oh! That looked like Murno had a little moment out of the corner there at the top of the hill. Samsung is the name of it. And now the gap is over 1 second, so Murno won't be able to use DRS that lap. Of course, if he does not close the gap, he might just be in it once again. And Frigoto is also not out of that competition as well. I believe we've seen it there. Murno just was close enough. But that, of course, has given Yannis Wilborn a bit of time to relax. It'll also be interesting to see when the first drivers come into the pit lane. Maybe strategy will also come into play once again here. We've seen it at many races before. Drivers attempted to go for a one-stop. Oh, and Knazovic is catching up to Jeffrey Fournier. What a shame for Alexander, as he had such a great qualifying session. But then that start really hampered his point-scoring ambitions. Just maybe a quick reminder. Oh, this is Aaron Curtis. We've seen them round a couple of times. We've seen them around a couple of times, and now they seem to be completely out of this race. They crashed into the wall. I can't see where exactly that is. That will be interesting. Maybe we'll see a slow zone or virtual safety car under acceleration out of Samsung over the hill. That is really, really a critical spot on this track. Then, yeah, they didn't catch it. Unlike the teammate Lucas Murdoch platform. Also, regard. Oh no! Curtis is still running. They might actually make it back into the pit lane. And yeah, what a shame for Infernal Void Racing. Big opportunity today, of course, with not too many drivers competing for Curtis to score some points. Knezovic now very close to Jeffrey Fournier, and that is a straightforward move ahead of turn one. Oh, Fournier running a little wide. Now, of course, the opportunity is there for Fournier for a counter-attack in the second DRS zone, but yeah, it looks like Knezovic is safe. The rear wing is open, but the straight is just too short for any sort of move for Jeffrey Fournier. Curtis actually made it back into the pit lane, so that is good news for them. And it's a drift into the box, and they are doing some donuts in there. Unfortunately, we can't see, but yeah, they retired. Oh, and they're back at it again. Now, during while we were looking at Aaron Curtis, also update from race direction. There is no direction between Woolball and Lucas Murno for that situation into turns 3 and 4, when they both went off the road. And I guess that is a fair point, because there was also some contact from Lucas Murno's side after turn 3. So yeah, they let them race. And I guess this is also good for us viewers. So we'll see some more action without any intervention from race direction. The warning for Yannis Woolbon, of course, still stays. So yeah, he has been reminded of that as well in that call from race direction. That is maybe also noteworthy. Now with 3.6 second gap ahead of his teammate Dylan Fisher. This time they won't be running together. Apparently, he's able to go a lot quicker than his teammates, but still. Fisher also gaining on Philip Pushka. The gap between these two now about 4 seconds. Bit more even. But this here remains the most interesting battle we have on track right now. Just waiting for the next wheel-to-wheel action between these two. This time it looks like Murno is pretty close. But he will only be able to open his rear wing here. And Woolbon ahead of that DRS activation zone, able to increase that gap even. That is just how fast these Holland Racing Team cars are in a straight line. Wilami is the first one in the pit lane, and I believe this is a regular pit stop. End of lap 17. Well, let's focus on this battle. This time, at least from this view, it looks like Mono is a bit closer. Yeah, but not close enough to try anything. And it's a penalty also for Paolo Villami. Ooh, Mono a bit wide out of 4. Looked like he was very close, but maybe a little too early on the throttle there. So if Wilami made it out of the pit lane, he's still running on mediums. Not sure though. Let me just check on the driver tracker. Yeah, it shows for me that Wilami still is back on track, running on mediums. So interesting. Let's see if any one of the top guys will follow. One that you have to count in is Lucas Murno, of course. This is pretty much undercut territory where he's in right now. If he can't do it on track, he may be able to do it in the pit lane. Oh no, it shows once again Wilami in the pits. Maybe he even retired now. No, there they are. Oh yeah, they had a penalty. Presumably for speeding in the pit lane. So Wilami still in this race. The first one that made a pit stop. Well, he now definitely is out of contention. Running a sole 11th. Oh, and there once again, Murno having a little look. You can't take your eyes away from that battle for just a second. This time it looks like Murno is very close once again. This is an awesome opportunity now this time for Lucas Murno. He hasn't been that close in laps, but look at that. The Holland Racing Team, he's just barely faster than Wilborn ahead of him, despite having DRS enabled. So that is really a tough nut to crack for Lucas Murno. No chance into the hairpin here. Oh! What has happened there? Wilborn runs right into the gravel! And it seems like he got stuck on the curb there. There's Gustavo Frigoto now just behind him. Frigoto was not able to take advantage from that situation, but Lucas Murno says thank you very much and is now gone. And once again, this is another mistake of Yanis Wilborn. Something similar happened to him at Jerez as well. Would be awesome to see a replay of that, but to me it looked like he was a bit on the curb, got stuck there, and then wasn't able to turn in. Just ran wide. And a couple of laps ago, Frigoto was able to stay with these two. So let's see if Wilborn is able to shake him off, or if this will just motivate Frigoto to maybe move up another spot. Good news, this is indeed also for Philip Puschke. Who now, instead of 1 point, would be gaining 2 points on Wilborn in the championship. Knežević moved past Gino Gagiano. So Knežević now back into the point scoring positions. And in the background, Jeffrey Fournier is as well. Now there is a replay. And this is, this is the overtake of Knežević against Gagiano. Gagiano defending the inside, but then with the help of DRS, no chance for the SCMM driver to keep Knežević behind. And then, even running a bit wide after turn 1. Not able to pull the counter-attack as well. We've seen that live. And Philip Puschke into the pit lane. And there is other drivers in the pits as well. Yanis Wilborn, Gustavo Frigoto, Jeffrey Fournier. So double stacking at Maniti. Interesting. Wilborn out of the pits as well. There is Jeffrey Fournier. Now this is very, very interesting. So they will probably all be going for a 2-stop strategy if they come in at lap 22, and I believe they all went for the mediums once again, if I've seen that correctly. Now, this is interesting. Does Lucas Murno have enough time to react? Is the gap big enough? Well, we'll see. Jeffrey Fournier now definitely out of Wilborn's DRS range. And there is Lucas Murno now in the pits as well. No surprise that he immediately reacts here. And this is now very important. Fischer in the pits as well. Lucas Murno, out he goes. Sorry, just lost connection there. Had a short timeout, but Lucas Murno managed to stay ahead of Yanis Wilborn. We can see here the gap is a bit closer than it was before. Now, a bit of overheating there of Lucas Murno's car. Nothing to be alarmed about, but... Oh, there's a penalty for Gino Gagiano. And just came out of the pit lane. Maybe he crossed the white line at the exit. Or it was speeding. Oh, interesting battle. No, it's not a battle. Is it a battle? Knežević. Yes, it is actually a battle. Knežević not in the pits yet. Dylan Fischer has just been in the pits. And Knežević is not making it too easy for Dylan Fischer to move past. But now he has done. As in third. Meshida now in the pits as well. But I guess we don't have to worry for anything to change up front there. Meshida will be coming out ahead of his teammate. Once again, the gap was big enough. He has been faster from, well, the moment on that he passed Dylan Fischer. Knežević now into the pits as well. So I believe we have everyone going for that 2-stop. And now, interestingly, Yanis Wilborn has set the fastest lap with a 1:16.1. The gap between Murno and Wilborn down to 1.8 seconds. So, round 2, anyone? The other way around. Oh, and this is interesting. Knežević moves, drops down to 9th. Fournier, thanks to the earlier pit stop, is in 8th. Gagiano, well, he was in that battle for 8th as well, but yeah, courtesy of the penalty, is now dropping down a lot. He stops there. And, well, is this a pit stop or a penalty? It has to be a penalty, surely. Stationary. And then he goes out once again, pretty much in no man's land in 10th. In the background, there comes the optimal of Ruben Meshida to lap Gino Gagiano, who's now a lap down. So, back to the battle. We've been watching pretty much throughout this race. Lucas Murno against Yanis Woolborn for P4. This time, it's advantage Lucas Murno, who has track position. Woolborn has just set the fastest lap. So now it looks like Murno was able to keep the gap as it was throughout the last lap. Oh, and there is a 5-second time penalty for Victor B, who's running in 7th because of an unsafe release against Gagiano in the pit lane. Bernier currently is 7.3 seconds behind B. But that is now, of course, an extra bit of motivation. Oh, the gap is now really dropping down, so there must have been a bit of a mistake for Victor B. Because now the gap is down to 6.2 seconds. Gagiano back in the pits again. Or at least that is what it says on the timing tower. And this looks like he's retiring. Is he? Yes. Gino Gagiano retires from this race, becomes the second retiree of the day. And this means that Willami, well, unfortunately, this is not a battle. This is just Willami letting his teammate through. Who is back in the hunt for the points. Jeffrey Fournier, that is the green car just ahead of him. That is the only car separating Knazer from the points finish. That would be a very nice story. Knazovic from the commentary box where he was sitting the last time with Ash together at Spa. Into the points. Well, it might happen here today. Roy, who won't be missing anything between Murno and Woolborn. The gap is constantly around 1.4, 1.6 seconds. Now a couple of tenths gained by Woolborn again, but now this might be a fantastic opportunity for Alexander Knazovic. He can open the rear wing now, and this looks like a pretty easy job. Fournier not even bothering trying to defend the insides, rather focusing on that second DRS zone maybe, but I don't even think he will get an opportunity there, as Nazo is already pulling a bit away from the Maniti behind him. And that is now Alexander Knazovic back into P8, and Cesario maybe finally back in the points. And now, of course, remember, Victor B has that 5-second time penalty. So, if he manages to get this lap down below 5 seconds, he might even move up to P7. But still, despite that 5 seconds penalty, what an awesome debut for Victor B. Solidly driving in the points here. And having a fantastic opportunity for points on debut. Oh, the gap between Murno and Woolborn even increased. It's now back to 2 seconds. Interesting. I wonder if that was a little moment that Woolborn had there. Or maybe lapped cars. Though I don't see any lapped cars behind them. Just Gustavo Frigoto. 3.5 seconds behind. Waiting maybe for the next opportunity. What's going on with Yanis Woolborn? He's really slow now. 2.8 seconds the gap to Murno. Frigoto also has gained half a second now. That is a bit unusual. Frigoto's 2.6. What's going on with Yannis Wilborn? He's losing a couple of tenths per lap as it seems now. Let's see if we can see anything from the onboard. I don't see anything unusual. No, it seems like the situation is a bit better. At least he's gained a few tenths again on Frigoto. But the gap between himself and Lucas Murno is back up to over 3 seconds. Yeah, the last lap time... Okay, my life timing is not up to date at all. Well, interesting. Well, it seems to be back under control now for Yannis Wilborn. Very, very aggressive over that first curb. But we'll keep an eye on these gaps, because this certainly was very interesting. He lost a lot of time compared to Murno over the course of 1 or 2 laps. Pushka also a bit closer to Dylan Fisher. 4 seconds, the gap between these two. This was a bit higher ahead of the pit stops. Ruben measured it comfortably, leading up front, setting one fastest lap after another. Oh, and Alexander Knazovic, the gap between Victor B and himself is now just 3 seconds, so he's already in that 5 seconds window. But he might even be able to do it on track. We'll keep an eye on it while we watch Filip Puška, who, well, I seem to have cursed because now the gap is slightly above 4 seconds, at least most of the time. At Murno, still pulling away from Yannis Wilborn. Now 4.1 seconds, the gap between these two. All the while, the gap between Puška and Murno is staying at around the same bit. 3.54 seconds. So it's not like Lucas Murno is setting blisteringly fast lap times. It's rather Yannis Wilborn that is somewhat struggling. And now the gap between Wilborn and Frigoto has been coming down a bit. Is he maybe overheating those tires and then has to cool them down? It's very, very curious. The gap between Wilborn and Frigoto now below 2 seconds. Gustavo Frigoto is catching up to Yannis Wilborn massively during that lap. Let's see the last lap times. I don't see a last lap time for Yannis Wilborn. So maybe also had another off moment and yeah, has been getting a track limit warning, so his lap was not counted. I just know that Gustavo Frigoto's last lap time was 1:16.8, Lucas Murno's 1:16.7, so these two just separated by 1/10 per lap, and Wilborn certainly had to be a lot slower than that. So, championship leader, who's been so strong throughout the season. This is just the 3rd race that he's struggling, but he's struggling a lot right now. The gap coming down once again. At that moment, it's 1.6 seconds. Frigoto, in a couple of laps, might be close to Wilborn. Oh, could we just switch over to Knežević and Victor B? The gap is now just half a second, so we might see another move here. They're just approaching the start-finish straight. Around the final corner they go. And this should once again be straightforward for Alexander Knežević. Oh, Victor B is defending the inside. Knežević takes the long way. But yeah, he's already ahead of the post corner. So another easy pass for Knežević, who is now in 7th. And Victor B is losing loads of time. Jeffrey Fournier just 2.4 seconds behind. And remember, B still has a 5-second penalty. So maybe I was a bit too fast. Oh, okay. There must have been a situation between these two prior to what we saw, because we just got the call from race direction that there will be no further action regarding anything that happened between these two. And I don't think it was that move on the start-finish straight, because I don't see why there should be any action regarding that. Maybe we have a replay available. We'll see. Right now, I'll just be watching the gap of Wilborn and Frigoto. Now it's constant once again at around 2 seconds, 2.1, 2.2. So, interesting. There seem to be periods where Wilborn is losing loads of time, and then again, it's somewhat stable. So that is interesting. I can only explain it to myself. That it has to do something with tires overheating, and yeah, as soon as he starts to push, and then he's trying to get them back into the window, because that would be a logical explanation for what we've been seeing here throughout the last 5 or 6 laps maybe. As we've just passed the halfway point of this race here at Portimao. The next pit stops should happen at around lap 44, 43, 42-ish. So we're still a bit away from that. Yeah, just as I was talking about the gap between Murnau and Wilborn being stable. Wilborn and Frigoto being stable. There it is. At 1.5, 1.4 seconds. So don't go anywhere. We might see the next bit of on-track action in just a couple of minutes. 1.2 seconds now, the gap between Wilborn and Frigoto. And Frigoto now just needs to put the pressure on Yanis Wilborn, as he's obviously struggling. To make another mistake. So, and here we're live. Following Gustavo Frigoto. Now the gap has increased a little bit. But, and this is interesting also regarding the topic of pit stops. Even if he's not able to attack him on track, that might be undercut territory where he's in now. So that might also be worth a shot. In case you missed it, everyone is on a 2-stop strategy. They all came in starting from lap 22 until 24, 25. This was when everybody made their pit stop. And also, in case you're new to the WMSC, there is no rule in place that you have to use two different sets of tires. Yeah, everybody has stayed on their mediums that they started the race with. And while the only car that has started on the hards, Aaron Curtis, well, they're already out of this race following a crash at the exit of Samsung. So, well, I hope I didn't promise too much, and put a bit of commentator's curse on Gustavo Frigoto, because now the gap is kind of stable. In the meantime, also watching gaps, Lucas Murno has slowly taken 1 second away, around 1 second away from Philip Puschke, so maybe late in the race we might see a battle for the final podium spot. Who knows? But I guess this is still the best shot for an on-track battle. Gustavo Frigoto on the SCMM, trying to move past Yannis Wilborn, the championship leader in the Holland Racing Team car. Seven seconds now the gap to Lucas Murno in Yannis Wilborn's point of view. I really wonder what happened there. Maybe he tried too hard on the beginning of that stint. He closed up to Lucas Murno, even set the fastest lap at one point, but maybe that was a bit too much, and now he has to nurse these tires and the temperatures. But it looks like he has it under control now. Or at least it looks like it. But this certainly is another difficult afternoon for Yannis Wilborn. I mean, he will just be happy that Optimal Esports, both in Hockenheim and now here in Portimao, are locking out P1 and P2, so that Philip Puschke isn't gaining that many points on him. As I already said, the WMSC is using that point scoring system that Formula 1 used from 2003 until 2009. So 10 points for the race winner, 8 for second, 6 for third, 5 for fourth, and then 4, 3, 2, 1 for the rest down to P8. So that means that, luckily for Yannis Wilborn, Philip Puschke, as it stands, will only take 2 points away from his championship lead. So the gap then will be down to 8 points going into the next race at Silverstone. Good news for Better Julia and Victor B. He now seems to be able to set some stable lap times. He is still somewhat close to Alexander Knazovic, so the gap between these two is 1.6 seconds now, and he has increased that gap to Jeffrey Fournier also remarkably. Remember, they were below 2 seconds was the gap between these two. Now it is almost back to the 5 seconds that Victor B needs to stay in 8th. And now he's able to stay with Alexander, which is very good news for him, because he also lost lots of time for a couple of laps. But now everything is stable and under control once again. For Victor, he still has the chance to score points on his debut here. before he will join Potenza Esports. It will probably be a lot harder to score points with Potenza than it is with Beta Julia. Beta Julia has been looking strong, especially at the beginning of this season. I've shortly mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. So Danny Vella especially has been so strong in the first 2-3 races, especially. No, actually the first 2, sorry. The third one was already. Oh, and Gustavo Frigoto has gone into the pit lane. We can talk about Beta Julia later. Gustavo Frigoto is going for that undercut, lap 41, and this might be a very, very smart move for SCMM. Good news also, I think he won't have to deal with traffic. There is Jeffrey Fournier, will also be a healthy gap. And Yanis Woolborn now is kind of forced to react. This is a critical lap now for Yanis. Hammer time it is. He surely will come in at the end of this lap to start his final stint. And Gustavo Frigoto, the professional racing driver from Brazil, might be able to move past him using the pit lane. Now, Pushke and... No, Woolborn stays out. Okay, this is interesting. Pushke and Murner at the same time now in for their second pit stop. This is also interesting. With a good pit stop, Lucas Murner might be able to get a bit closer to Philip Pushke, but I think Pushke is already out. Now, the teams all have... skill points and resources available to also upgrade their pit crew to have their pit stops go a little faster. Oh, this is now a bit of a critical moment for Lucas Murno. This is Alexander Knazovic just behind him. Victor B now in the pit lane. Jeffrey Fournier in the pit lane. Lucas Murno once again. Oh, poor Alexander. He is getting another face full of smoke right now. He has been getting a lot of that at the start. Now he's getting it once again. After Lucas Murno's pit stop. Don't worry, that has happened at the previous pit stop as well. And after the start. So I guess it will just stop at the end of this lap. So this is also interesting. Knazovic against Victor B. These two are also in a battle. Woolborn now in the pit lane. This is very interesting now, but this might be a lap too late even. Or he's very confident that he still had a bit of lap time in this set of tires. Now, where is Gustavo Frigoto? Knazovic into the pit lane as well. This is very, very interesting. There is Frigoto. Oh, this is going to be very close. Frigoto will have the momentum, and there they go. Frigoto is past Woolborn. Maybe that was that one lap too late. Woolborn down to 6th. Very good decision there by Gustavo Frigoto to pull that undercut, and it worked a charm. Now it will be interesting to see what Yanis Woolborn is able to do on those fresher tires. Oop. Oops. Caught a bit of grass there, but he's still going. He was pretty quick at the beginning of the second stint, but he seemed to suffer later on, or during the middle part of that stint. So let's see if he is approaching that very important final stint a bit different. He does not have to worry for what is behind him. The gap to Alexander Knazovic is big enough for him to even put in another pit stop, I believe. Or, well, he'll be able to extend that gap so far, so that another pit stop is in for him. So maybe it's a shot, just giving it everything right now. And if it doesn't work, well, he can still pit. But I guess he has to try something now against Gustavo Frigoto. On average, his last stint was a lot slower than Frigoto's. They were multiple seconds apart after their first pit stop, and at the end it was just 1.5 seconds, the gap that was remaining between Wilborn in 5th and Gustavo in 6th. Right now, Wilborn is eating into that gap. Overtaking shouldn't be an issue for him. But this is now very crucial for Frigoto. He just has to try to keep Wilborn out of that DRS window. Lucas Murno with the fastest lap of the race. Unfortunately, due to a lot slower pit stop of Murno compared to Pushka, that gap between 3rd and 4th is now back up to almost 4.5 seconds. Wilborn going aggressively over these curbs here in the first sector. Oh, little moment there, running very wide. Almost lost it in turn 4. And this just shows you how much Yannis Wilborn is trying. He's giving it everything right now. Dylan Fisher now into the pit lane as well. Shouldn't be an issue between himself and Filip Puške. So they are just managing this race up front. Another impressive showing by Optiminal, and Wilborn once again running a bit wide there. All 4 wheels off the road. And yeah. Oh my goodness, what has happened? Yannis Wilborn is off the track, and he's massively off the track. Dylan Fisher with a penalty. Oh, now this race is getting very interesting. Wilborn with a massive moment off the road. Dylan Fisher in second. Now he almost lost the car. Has been hit with a penalty. And that will move. Yannis Wilborn is in the pits. What has happened there? Oh, this is very crucial for the championship. Pushka might move up another spot because Fisher has been hit with the penalty. Yannis Wilborn, what is he doing? Running past his pit? Stopping at the end of it? He won't be retiring, will he? Down in 8th. Wilborn out of the points. That is absolutely crazy. Is Yannis Wilborn retiring from that race? That almost looked like he had some issue with his wheel. There is Yannis Wilborn. He stopped at the end of this pit lane. He might have... I think it might have been issues with his wheel. Because that looked very, very odd, what was happening there in the final sector when he just went off the road as his car seemed to be pulling just to the right. Oh, and that is crazy. Filip Puška now up into second. That is huge for the championship. Filip Puška, right now, as it stands, will be scoring 8 points. Wilborn might be scoring none of them. And this means the gap going into Silverstone could be down to just 2 points. And this is maybe even a bit of balancing things out. Filip Puška, while running very good in the points in Bahrain, had issues with his wheel, and now the same, presumably. This is just my interpretation, but that might have happened to Yannis Wilborn there as well. And this is huge news. Just as I was about to say, oh well, yeah, the 2 Optiminals just managing this race up front. Well, there you go. And Lucas Murno has brought that gap down. Oh, no. No, he's not. 4.1 seconds again. Yeah, I should be a bit more careful. not to jinx everything, but that is now very, very interesting. Now, of course, there is no on-track battle right now. No proper on-track battle, but we'll definitely see Yannis Wilborn trying everything to get back into the point-starting positions to at least salvage something from this race. It will be a very tough ask, but he might be able to do this and to get at least back into the point-scoring positions. Maybe 6th. Can he get back into 6th? Oh, I don't know. The gap is very big. And he's struggled before, but it's not impossible to maybe at least get Fournier. And then Dylan Fisher. He's been so fast throughout the race. He might be able to at least catch up to Gustavo Frigoto, who is running in 4th. That race that at some point was a bit eventless, all of a sudden has been turned upside down. And this is now even more damage limitation that Jannis Wilborn has to do here. That is really crazy. The same moment Wilborn went off, Fischer in 2nd has been hit with a penalty, presumably for speeding in the pit lane or crossing the white line at exit, because it was just when he left the pit lane. Just at that moment, Jannis Wilborn went off. He's now out of the points. Crazy stuff. Yeah, Super Parker, completely agree with you in the chat. If I expected anything today, it certainly wasn't that. And I guess the same goes for Jannis Wilborn. Lucas Murno. This is the chance for his 2nd podium finish in the WMSC. We didn't expect lots of him going into the season, but he has been very consistent in these first 2 races. And then from Bahrain, he has scored points at every race. And if it stands like it is right now, he will be the only driver that has consistently scored points at every race since Bahrain, because Jannis Wilborn right now is out of the points. Crazy stuff. Victor B here, I'm not too sure. I guess the time will be added at the end of this race. I guess he did not have these 5 seconds that he was stationary in the pits like it's done in Formula 1. So I guess he is still in danger of losing that point scoring position, of course, depending on how fast Jannis Wilborn can close the gap. Right now, it looks like Wilborn might be able to attack them at the end of this race. But let's also remember that Wilborn should not overdo it on these tires, because he had some issues during the 2nd stint. And when he was in the pit lane, he just stopped at the end of it to probably sort something out on his side. He did not change tires. He just went through the pit lane, stopped at the end, took care of whatever was the cause for what happened there, then went back out again. So no fresh tires for Jannis. Dylan Fischer is also eating into that gap between himself and Gustavo Frigoto. 0.6 seconds now only. It was 7.1, I believe, after he served his penalty. So this is a battle we will definitely see in this race. Yep, you can already see him around the final corner. Oh, that will be so disappointing for Dylan. That was a safe P2 finish, but he is presumably thrown away all on his own. So what a shame. But he can still move up at least one spot. Wilbur now just below 10 seconds behind Jeffrey Fournier. This is the rear wing of Gustavo Frigoto's SCMM that we're seeing here. He is pushing now to try and keep Dylan Fisher behind. But the gap is getting smaller and smaller, so at one point he will have to defend from Fisher. But another very good race from Frigoto. In Hockenheim he had a great starting position going into the race from 4th. Was hit by a penalty very early on, another penalty later on, but still managed to finish 7th. And now, by just keeping it calm, he is fighting for a P4 finish. And that also would be season best. Also, he has been very consistent in the 4 races he has been doing. At least in the 3 he has been doing for SCMM. He placed Aaron Curtis at Jerez at a final. Look at how close Dylan Fisher was there. He is now in the DRS window. The man that's striving for SCMM has also finished in the points at every race. 7th, 7th and 8th. This is his current record. If nothing dramatic does happen here, that will definitely be a season best. But now let's first focus on that Optimal Esports cars behind Frigoto. He'll be waiting for the start-finish straight, and then I fear Gustavo Frigoto might be a sitting duck, because that Optimal car has been so strong throughout the day. Look at how much Mercedes controlling this race up front. Fischer was sitting in a comfortable 2nd. Frigoto already rather towards the inside, but this is going to be very interesting. Dylan Fisher takes the inside line away from Frigoto and moves past the Brazilian into turn 1. Not as straightforward as I thought it would be. But Frigoto just let that little bit of track for Dylan Fisher left on the inside. Fisher took that and has taken 4th away from the SCMM driver. Now the gap for Fisher, the next car, would be Lucas Murno, but he is 15 seconds up the road. And with just, 10 laps to go, I don't think he will be able to close that gap. Let's just compare the last lap times, though the last one might probably not be telling us too much, because he was battling with Gustavo Frigoto it was a 1:15.9 compared to Murnau 1:16.3. At that pace, Murnau is safe. Now they come across the line once again. Now this might be a bit more of a representative lap time. And then we see that Lucas Murnau was even faster than Dylan Fisher. Okay, that can't be, because the gap is a bit down. Well, anyway, right now the pace of Dylan Fisher is not good enough to catch up to Lucas Murnau. Well, and what about Yannis Wilborn's pace in P9? To be honest, it is not that convincing. His last lap time was 1:16.3. Jeffrey Fournier's last lap time in P8 was 1:16.8. 10 laps to go. 7 seconds. Well, that's gonna be tight for Yannis Wilborn. But as I mentioned, Victor B might still have that 5-second penalty, or I'm pretty sure he has. So, yeah, that might work for him to at least get 1 point out of this today. So that the gap would just be 3 points in Silverstone. He will still leave Portimao as the championship leader, no matter how this race will end. But with a gap that is a lot smaller than what he thought it would be. And what a shame that Max Riedmüller wasn't there for Hockenheim. He wasn't there for Portimao here now either, because this would have been a massive opportunity as well to get back into the championship fight. Now we are running with Jeffrey Fournier. He once again is close to Victor B. 1.6 seconds just a gap. That was a lot bigger a couple of laps ago. Ahead of the second pit stop, it was almost the 5 seconds that Victor B needs. And he also seems to have one of these patches of very poor pace right now, as, well, he was just a bit over 1 second behind Knežević at one point. Now he's 4.7 seconds down, so Victor B clearly struggling. And this is maybe even the first bit of good news for Yannis Wilborn in quite some time here today. And Jeffrey Fournier will also know that he needs to go now, because behind him, Wilborn is coming. The little push against Murnau, well, possibility for a fight that we might have hoped for at some point. I guess that won't happen because the gap is pretty stable between these two now. And Jeffrey Fournier now is below 1 second to Victor B. Struggling a bit here in the last sector, so he won't be able to use the... What has happened to Yannis Wilborn? There must have been a big mistake. The gap is back up to almost 9 seconds. Oh, another lockup there. Struggling once again. Did the same issue happen once more? Oh, it looks uncontrollable, that car. Let's see what he does. Well, he stays out. Once again running wide. There is some big issues now for Yannis Wilborn. And this might have been the chance for at least 1 point here today. Oh, that is looking really, really terrible to drive that car. is struggling a lot, fighting a lot with that. Yeah, look at that. Struggling pretty much at every corner. That is a big shame for a championship leader. Yeah, he's losing loads and loads of time. There must be a technical issue on his side. I mean, it's nice that he's putting up a little show for us here. Almost drifting through most of the corners, but yeah, I don't think there is any point in running for him right now. He's losing multiple seconds on that lap alone here. 5 laps to go. And we go back to, well, pretty much the only on-track battle that we have right now. Even though we must say, now it seems to be Knežević who's lost a lot of time. And, well, I see that he is busy there with his teammate, Paulo Villami, who is a lap down. That is a shame if he would be holding his teammate up, because the gap between Knežević and B was at 4-point-something seconds a couple of laps ago. Now it's 2.2. Fournier is now inside the DRS window of B once again, and now maybe he can even keep it together through that final sector. And this is good news both for B and Fournier, because now they don't have to worry about a fast charging Wilborn behind them, because he is struggling a lot with his Holland Racing Team car, or in fact his equipment. So Fournier now able to use DRS against B. Yes, and indeed there are the two Scuderia Cesario cars running together, but I think that Knežević might be the car ahead. And pulling Villami through the course. Yes, indeed. Knežević is the lead Cesario on track. Well, Villami is a lap down, so as soon as B and Fournier come close, he will be obliged to let them through. So he can't hold these two up to help his teammates. But, well, it still might be a comfortable feeling now for Knežević to know that there is his teammate in between himself and the cars following him. Does B have DRS from Villami ahead? No, he does not. But Fournier will have the DRS once again. And in the background, I guess Ruven Meshida is coming closer to them. Yes, indeed, he is. He will be wanting to get through there. Wilborn in the pits, and I presume this is now to retire the car. What a shame for championship leader. No, once again, he's driving to the end of the pit lane. There is his crew. And no, it's another pit stop. Standing there. Well, this doesn't look good. No, he's actually finishing this race. So fair play to Yannis Wilborn. He's not giving up. He at least wants to finish this race, and yeah, that is very good bit of sportsmanship. And now Villami, well, not exactly moving out of the way of Victor B, but yeah, B will be pretty thankful for that bit of slipstream he got there now against Geoffrey Fournier, who, well, is in the difficult situation that he now had to let Ruben Meshide pass. Now Willamy will have to let Meshide and Fournier pass. He does that. Well done to Paulo Willamy. Fair play here. And now this might be another opportunity for Geoffrey Fournier to stay in the slipstream of Ruben Meshide, and when Victor B inevitably will let our leader through, well, that might be an opportunity for Fournier. Meshide will now enter the final lap of this race here, and it will be yet another commanding victory if he just makes it round that final lap. Yeah, Super Parker in the chat, I somewhat agree with you. Ruben would not have to get involved in this here at all. He could just stay behind and finish that race relaxed behind them. Now B is letting him through. Fournier is still in 8th. Oh yeah, but there is still the time penalty for B, so he will finish in 8th one way or another. But at least it is a points finish on debut, and he can say he's beaten Yannis Wilborn. Championship leader. Struggling so much here, but Ruben Meshide, he has not been struggling at all here today. It is back-to-back wins. He returns from the summer break just as he started it. Wilborn, a bit of showboating here, sets the fastest lap in the end as well. It won't help him at all. He will finish outside of the points. Ruben Meshide wins for the second time in the WMSC. Congratulations to Ruben. Back-to-back wins here. And it was another commanding one. Optimal could have had the 1-2 here without that penalty for Dylan Fischer. But Philip Puschke comes home to inherit second, and he will be very happy with that 8 points he scored here today. The championship gap between P1 and 2. Lucas Murno! What has happened? He's off the road. Dylan Fischer finishes on the podium. Lucas Murno in the final lap. What is he doing? What's happened? He's not finished this race. The car, it's off. Murno is out of this race. Oh, what drama. Can he at least roll down the hill to make it across the line? There goes Rigoto. It's a double point podium finish for Optimal Esports. I guess Murno will still be finishing in the points despite these engine blowouts. Rigoto 4th. Knezovic finishes in 5th, his first points in the WMSC. Oh, now it's going uphill. Oh, what a shame. Oh, God. Almost a crash. I guess this is... No, this is it. Lucas Murno finishes in 6th because B and Fournier are lapped down, but he loses a podium finish. What a shame for Lucas Murno. What a finish to this race. And there are the heroes of today. Ruben Meshide and Dylan Fischer, with a bit of luck, still makes it back onto the podium. Ruben Meshide is our race winner here today. And, well, this race has had its fair bit of drama. This is how we finished here today. Ruben Meshide wins out of Philip Puschke, Dylan Fischer, Gustavo Frigoto, season best finish in 4th, Alexander Knezovic, first point of the season in 5th. Lucas Murno lost a podium in the final 2 corners here. What a shame for the Brazilian. Victor B finished in 7th with his 5-second penalty, will drop down to 8th, still finishes in the points on his debut. Geoffrey Fournier, well, he will inherit 7th. Yannis Wilborn well, he at least had the fastest lap in the end, but that, well, doesn't help him as he finishes in 9th without any points. Paulo Villami, the final car that finished today, in 10th. Gino Gagiano and Aaron Curtis had to retire from this race in 11th and 12th. And that has been it for, well, still a very exciting race here and a very dramatic race at the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao. Here are your top 10 once again. And let's see if Ruven is available for a little post-race chat here. Maybe we can get him up into this channel. As wow, that was crazy. The drama for Yannis Wolvon and Lucas Murno. What a shame for these two. They have been battling during that first stint, an intense battle, and in the end, this race took a dramatic turn for both of them. The one lost a podium. The one lost, well, all of the points he could have finished. He could have scored today. Yeah, so let me just write Ruven if he'd be available for interview. So while we wait, just quickly, let's go through the driver standings. How they? Oh, there we are. Hi, Ruven. Congratulations to your second win in a row. That looked quite comfortable there up front. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, quali was a struggle for me because I don't got the soft tire to keep working. And I really struggled on the soft, so I switched to the medium, which was another mistake. I should have stayed with the super soft. But yeah, the race was great. I think I couldn't have done anything much better. So yeah, I feel a bit gutted for Dylan that he got a drive through in the pit lane. But he is still P3. That's nice points for the team. And I think Yannis didn't score a point today. So I think the championship is now more open than the last one. I think it's like a 20-point gap. So I will keep working, keep fighting, and see how it goes.
Yeah, indeed, the gap is now down to 20 points for you. So this is still a great opportunity you might have in the championship. Now, tell us a bit about was there an agreement between Dylan and you that he would let you through at some point after qualifying, or did you just pass him on track with the help of DRS?
I mean, he said after quali, when I am faster, he will let me go. And yeah, I was a bit faster, not much. He had also great pace, just lacking a bit of experience with the WMSC car. So he's still doing great, and I hope to have more podiums with him. He's a great teammate, and yeah.
So a bit of great teamwork there for you. Now, the next race will be at Silverstone. Do you expect to be as competitive as you were in Hockenheim here now in Silverstone as well? Might you win every race for the remainder of the season?
I mean, I hope so, to keep the championship wide open. But I think, yeah, Silverstone was always one of my worst circuits. So let's see how it will be. But I think also the nature of Silverstone is like the top speed and high downforce corners. So it should be like Hockenheim with a bit more straight. So we should be competitive. But after the round in Silverstone, Monza, we will struggle, I think, against the Holland Racing guys because they got the best top speed. So yeah, let's see how this will be going.
Yeah, so thanks for your time. Congratulations once again for the win here, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thanks for the interview here.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, you too. So, well, that has been it for the race here at Portimao. Now, we have 5 races still to go, as you can see on the screen right now. The next one will be on the 10th of September. So in 3 weeks' time, and then we'll be at the Silverstone circuit. Now, Ash will be back for you then in the commentary box, as I will be on holiday by then. But yeah, he will surely do a great job as well, and I'm sure we'll see another fantastic race at Silverstone as well. So enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, let's see you all for round 11 at Silverstone. Goodbye.